Hey, this is a redo of a video I shot about a week or so ago that I didn't really like. It was my very first video, and I didn't much like it, so I'm redoing it. And I'm going to touch on the issue of what Blackrock is. Blackrock, State Street, Vanguard, they're all kind of the same company. They all own each other. So we're going to talk about what it is. We're going to talk about how it operates. And we're going to talk about who controls it, because believe me, if you don't know about these guys and you don't know who controls them, they're just liable to be controlling you, and you won't even know about it. Okay, BlackRock, as I guess the best way that I can describe it, as I understand it, it's like a huge mutual fund. It takes the money of people and it reinvests it into other companies and corporations all over the world. They have a sister company called State Street and one called Vanguard, and they're all like, they all own each other. That's like they got their heads up each other's asses so far that they can't see which one starts and when one stops. But anyway, it's probably the biggest company you never heard of, and that's telling, because how can a company be this big and this ubiquitous without people knowing about it? I mean, that the silence there says more than just about anything that I could say or anyone else. But anyway, this article here calls it the biggest company you never heard of, and I'll show you what I mean here. At the time of this article, there were $40 trillion in circulation in the world's economy, and BlackRock owned 10 trillion of those. Think about that. That's a fourth of the money in the whole world. Oh my goodness. And they're passive, let's say, what does it say here? They're passive fund asset management firms is what they call themselves. Let's go on down to the very end here, and I'll show you something that really blew me away. If BlackRock were a country, they would have the third largest economy in the world. Think about that. My God. Think of the power.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
I don't know. Think about it like the layers of an artichoke. You know, you peel them back and you peel it back, you peel back the leaves, and then you keep peeling, and then you get to the center and there's really nothing there, because the artichoke is the sum total of all of its layers. And that's kind of the way these companies work. You can look at each company here and this company there, and you know, these guys have an interest, a little bit of an interest in all of them. But when you take the sum total, it effectively gives these guys control of a large portion of the world's economy. Let's see. Bloomberg calls BlackRock a fourth branch of government because it's the only private agency that actually works with central banks. Central banks, of course, print up all of our money. They set the interest rates. They control the supply of dollars or yen or Deutschmarks throughout the world. And these guys in BlackRock are actually working with them. You know, I tell you, it may choke Artie, but it's not going to choke V-Rock, because, you know, I'm alert to these sons of bitches now. Now, who owns these companies, you may ask? Well, that's where it apparently gets kind of murky, because if you look, say, for instance, at BlackRock, its largest shareholder is Vanguard. But if you look at Vanguard, its largest shareholder is BlackRock. But who are the people who control it? Who are the people who own it? I mean, apparently it's all big secret. There's a guy named Larry Fink, an appropriate name, who runs BlackRock. He's the manager, but he's not the owner. The owners are all back in the shadows, and you don't know who they are. They control Big Pharma. They control, let's see, what else does it talk about? The media, the news, and you may say, well, V-Rock, that can't possibly be true because I haven't seen that on the CNN. And I'm like, well, so they own CNN. Well, and I haven't seen it on MSNBC either. Well, no, because they own that and Fox. You're not going to hear about these guys because they own the very vehicle by which that you'd be informed about it in the first place. See, I guess the best illustration is, I guess kind of like this. Well, you got BlackRock and Vanguard up here, and then they buy companies, and then those companies buy companies, and then BlackRock buys into those, and then blah, blah, blah. And then it goes down until you get a situation like this one, where all the companies in the world are all spider-webbed around one another, like varicose veins, like a spider web, like tentacles in an octopus, like, ugh. But now here's where it really starts to get dark. This guy, Fink, he made a statement in 2011 that I think is kind of telling. He said that markets like totalitarian governments. In essence, what he said was, my company likes totalitarian governments, which of course makes sense from a business perspective. Totalitarian governments are a lot more stable. Never mind that they're just a dystopian nightmare for the people who live in them, Anyway, I think this probably illustrates what's been happening in the United States. I mean, we've been doing a totalitarian tiptoe in this country for so long, and people just seem to be going along with it. If these people really wanted democratic institutions to thrive, don't you think they would? Okay, so to sum it up, BlackRock is an asset management company which invests throughout all layers of corporate society. They are effectively called a fourth branch of government, and no one knows who owns it, but the fund's manager actually says that they like totalitarian governments best. I think that pretty much covers it. And if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I hope to be bringing you a lot more information in the near future. Peace.